The RMR HD, the love child of the RMR and the SRO, all the great features of both and some new ones in a package that is fit for everyday carry. The best light sensor on the market, multi-reticle options, a large window, and RMR durability. You're here because you want some info on the RMR HD. After spending many hours and thousands of rounds down range with this, I feel like I'm ready to share my thoughts with you. So let's dive in. This is a really fun red dot, and I absolutely love the look of it. I know it costs more than a brand new P365 fuse, but if you're the kind of person who buys things and holds onto them for a long time, then it's worth the investment because you're going to get a lot of life out of this. Leading off with my favorite feature, the front-facing sensor. Most red dots have the sensor somewhere that isn't the front, whether it's on top or somewhere else. They do an all-right job at detecting and adjusting the brightness, but it has its limitations. Trijicon really made the most out of this design with their decision to place the light sensor on the front, and this was a great decision. When the light sensor is on top or located elsewhere, it can't detect the light you're looking at, only the light you're standing in. Most often what you find is that if you're in a darker environment looking into a brighter environment, the dot doesn't detect the light in front of you and doesn't adjust appropriately, which can leave you struggling to see your dot as it gets washed out by background light. Not only is the RMR HD light sensor in the front, meaning it picks up the light where you're looking, Trijicon did a great job of making it both sensitive to light and quick to adjust the brightness to changing conditions. There's not much of a delay, so little that sometimes it's hard to notice when it changes as you go from one lighting condition to another. I've never really been a fan of auto brightness features and always opted to set a brightness that is really visible on bright days and just lock it in. The drawback though is that it's incredibly bright if you have to use it in the middle of the night. Having your dot be at a low level at 2 a.m. when you hear a bump in your house is less distracting and allows you to see clearly and positively identify your target in low light conditions. I'm definitely a fan of the auto brightness feature on this, and I have so much confidence in it that I carry it in the auto brightness setting. Let me take a second to say thank you for watching this video. It'd mean a lot to me if you hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss anything. If you're a fan of dot options, then you'll be happy to know Trijicon finally caught up to companies like HoloSun and many others. The RMR HD offers multi-reticle options. Additionally, you can choose between a 3.25 MOA dot and a 55 MOA circle, or a 1 MOA dot and 55 MOA circle. You can select between dot only or dot circle combinations. Dot circle kind of reminds you of an EOTech reticle, but I think they did a good job with it. I normally feel like dot circle combos are too busy. The RMR HD with the larger MOA circle doesn't feel as crowded, and I feel like it would be a good option for an EDC if you prefer it. The big circle can help improve your draw to first shot speed if you're new to red dots, or if you're struggling to find the dot as it draws your eyes to your reticle easier and can make it easier to track under live fire. With good fundamentals, you can hit center mass at any reasonable self-defense distance, and you can still focus on the dot in the middle for precision hits if you need to. Adjustments are 1 MOA per click, and these are located on the top and side as expected. I never had a problem with my zero shifting, and we're talking over 3,000 rounds with this optic, plus countless dry fire reps where I'm grabbing the optic to manipulate the slide. As for clarity, this is the clearest dot I've ever looked at. I have astigmatism, so my overall experience with red dots have been me looking at a blurry star shape. This is as close to being perfect as I imagine I'm going to find, which has made using this dot really nice. Running it fast on the range feels very easy. Tracking my dot during transitions between targets feels very natural, probably due to how clear the dot is and how easy it is to see down range with this field of view. The RMR HD has a maximum brightness setting for those of you that might use the auto brightness feature. This lets you set a maximum brightness level that the optic won't go past when adjusting automatically to lighting conditions. I think this is more of a personal preference sort of thing. I want my dot to be bright and clear in the brightest environments. You don't really want to find yourself hunting for your dot because it's not bright enough, but try it out for yourself and see if it's a useful feature for you. Setting your brightness is easy with these buttons. They're a little squishy, but I never noticed them being pressed unintentionally or my settings being adjusted after carrying all day. I do use the button lockout mode on all my optics. This mode prevents unwanted button presses so that your brightness isn't adjusted or your dot turned off by mistake, and I do recommend you use it as well if you're going to EDC a red dot. While these buttons look huge, they're actually not. The button area is a rather small section under the plus and minus icons. The area around the button is firm and feels like the housing, so while it looks like it has large buttons, it doesn't. So if you were concerned about the buttons being too big and easy to press, hopefully that helps you out. If you guys are looking for a great holster, stop by Grayman Solutions and use code SHENANY for free shipping. Link in description. I've been using these holsters for quite some time and they're my absolute favorite, and I'm confident it'll be yours as well. My one complaint about this optic though is that the features are not very user-friendly. The button combinations to change your settings are hard to remember, and I find myself referencing the menu to change my settings. There's just a lot of holding it for this many seconds, the optic needing to be powered off and then turned on while holding a combo of buttons. There's just a lot more to it than you'd expect. Now, you probably aren't going to be constantly adjusting settings like I am. You're likely going to find what you like, set it, and leave it there for a long time, so you might not find this to be much of a hassle. In the opening, I said this was the love child of an RMR and an SRO. Recently, I jumped on the SRO bandwagon, so I have one to compare it to. They're both built using 7075 T6 aluminum. Size-wise, they're really close. They share the same RMR footprint, so if you have a pistol using an RMR adapter plate or milled directly for an RMR, you can mount the RMR HD or the SRO. The window size is right between the RMR window size and the SRO window size. To me, this is the perfect combination of size and capability for a concealed carry red dot. The window size makes it a lot easier to find your dot when presenting on target, as well as making it easier to track in the window under recoil. Both are an open style optic, so you'll get dirt and dust on the inside lens, and it can be a bit of a pain to get in and clean. I picked up a Vortex lens pen and I really like this. It has a brush to get debris off your lens and then a cloth side to make sure you have clear glass. These aren't like an enclosed optic such as the HoloSun EPS or the Trijicon RCR. The boxy design makes cleaning any dust or dirt off the glass a lot easier, and the design prevents dirt or water from interfering with the display of your dot. Word of advice while cleaning, be sure to blow the debris off the glass before rubbing the glass with a cloth or lens pen. I managed to scratch the inside lens on mine, which distorted the dot rather severely. I ended up reaching out to Trijicon to see if they could fix it, and I even told them I'd be happy to pay for it since it was user error. Trijicon was awesome. They provided me with a shipping label and had me send it in. After a few weeks, I got it back, and they ended up fixing the lens as well as repairing some scratches and general wear and tear. So shout out to Trijicon for getting me taken care of. So how about the battery life? Using a single CR2032 battery, Trijicon says you can get 3.4 years of use out of the battery on setting 5 with the dot only. Realistically, best practice is to change your dot out every year to make sure you aren't running the risk of your battery dying. Both optics have a top-loading battery tray, which is a huge leap from the design of the original RMR, which had the battery located under the optic. To swap out a new battery, you had to completely remove the optic from your pistol, remount it, and then confirm your zero. And if you weren't confirming your zero, you really should be. With a top load option, you don't have to hassle with all that. With the battery removed, it will retain your zero setting, so after you pop the new battery in, you'll be hitting bullseye. And speaking of bullseyes, I was hitting center mass on a silhouette target at 50 yards rather easily. The 3.25 MOA dot does look larger when your target is at that distance, but it still allows you to make precise hits. While it was a challenge in fundamentals, using the dot and seeing through it for these hits was easy, even from behind the camera. The glass does have a small magnification and it can be noticeable if you're looking for it. At full speed running drills or hitting steel, it wasn't noticeable or distracting. I thought the 3.25 MOA dot was a good compromise of dot size for quick acquisition and being easy to follow under recoil, while being small enough to maintain precision at longer distances. But if I'm in a gunfight at 50 yards, I probably have bigger problems. Are there other red dot options out there that will get the job done? Absolutely. Do you need this? Not at all. If you want to spend the money on it, is it a good product? Yes. I honestly enjoy this optic. Is it expensive? Sure, but you know exactly what you're going to get with Trijicon. But I'm just some guy on the internet. So what do you think? Is it worth the money? Do you have one? What do you think of it? Let me know in the comments and I'll do my best to respond to everyone. I'll catch you guys on the next one.